Hey everyone, JT here from the No Code Founders community, and in this video I'm going to be looking at NordPass, which is a digital password manager from the team that brought us NordVPN. In the previous video I looked at the admin panel, which is where you have company-wide settings and the option to add and remove members. So this is where you as the company owner can control all of your password security for the entire organization. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at the password manager itself. So this is what you would see in terms of actually managing your passwords on a day-to-day basis. And it's also what employees would see when they log in if you're using this for your staff. So let's take a look at that just now. All right, so here I am in the password manager itself. Now I'm in the browser extension at the moment, but there's also an iOS app and Android app available, and you're able to sync across unlimited devices there. Now, two key things that I want to point out about NordPass, which aren't immediately visible but are extremely important, are the forms of encryption that NordPass uses. So the first one is called XChaCha20. Now, XChaCha20 is a modern form of encryption that most other password managers don't use. So most other password managers use an older form of encryption called AES-256, which is a security standard, but at the moment it's showing some early signs of possibly becoming crackable in the future. And if such a thing was to happen, then those password managers would likely have to revert back to an older form of encryption, whereas NordPass is future-proofed in that sense because it's on a more modern and more secure form of encryption, which is the XChaCha20. As well as that, they also use a form of encryption called zero knowledge, which basically means that your master password, which you use to access the password manager, is stored locally on your device and then synced across your devices without ever becoming accessible to anyone, including the team at NordPass. All right, so let's take a look at some features. So the first view that we land on when we log in is the All Items view, and this is where we have all passwords, passkeys, secure notes, credit cards, and personal information in a single view. And then we also get recommendations on how to keep our account secure, up to date, and tips on using it more effectively. We can add items directly from here, and we can also view items. So if we click on Facebook, we can share it, but we also have the password, which we can view. Don't worry, that's not my real password. We can copy it directly from there. We then have a password health, which is showing how closely this password complies with the password policy set by the account admins. So the account admins for your organization have the ability to set a password policy, which would be things like the length of the password, the types of characters being used, numbers, special characters, etc. And we'll then see a password health, which shows how closely this password meets that policy. And any that are not strong, that are showing as weak, we can update, and we can see that very easily. We have the option as well to move the password to specific folders, which we have down here, which we'll look at in a second. And we can see the password history, which is all the updates that have happened on this specific password account. Now let's go into the edit option, and we can edit all the normal details. We can add additional websites and notes. And we can also add custom fields. We have two types of custom fields we can add. We can add a regular text field, which will be visible directly on the record, and then a hidden text field, which will be more like a password field, where it's hidden with dots, and you have the eye icon to reveal it. And this is particularly useful when you start sharing passwords with teams, because it's possible to set it so that teams can't view any hidden text fields. So if you want to have some secure information, so let's just do one now. Let's call this secure key, and we can add a secure key here. So that's what it would look like, and then we can save that, and we'll see that now added onto that password. As well as the all items view, we can also look at individual categories. So we can look at just passwords on their own. We can then look at passkeys. Now, passkeys are a new form of authentication that various websites and apps offer. It's still fairly new, so not that many sites offer it at the moment. But Google, for example, offers passkey authentication, and this is a cryptographic key. So when you create an account, you'll be given two keys. One key is a public key, and one key is a private key. One of the keys is stored directly in Google, in this case, and the other key is stored directly on your device. So when you log into Google again, it links the two keys together, and authenticates you without the need to put in any login information. So it's effectively a passwordless login process. And there's only a few services that offer this at the moment. But Google is one of them, and there are others as well. And it's becoming more widespread. And it's an extremely simple way of logging in to services, and these can all be stored within NordPass. Then we also have secure notes, so you can add some basic secure text information that you want to save. You can also add credit cards here. You can add personal information, so if you want to store contacts that you want to keep their information secure, or your own information. And then we also have shared items where we can view anything that's been shared. So next up we have folders. There's two types of folders we can use. We have shared folders and regular folders. Now the advantage of folders is just obviously to keep things organized. Password managers can notoriously become bulky over time as you add thousands of passwords. And one way to keep them organized is by creating folders. So we can create standard folders for organizing our items, but we can also add a shared folder. So say I want to add a folder for marketing team. I can click save, and this is currently empty, but I can then move things into there. Actually, let's just go back and add a couple of items in there. We'll add these two, and we'll go ahead and share these. So if we click on moved folder, and we'll go to shared folder and choose marketing team, move it into the shared folder. Now, the shared folder currently isn't shared with anyone, but we can now go ahead and share this with an actual team that's set up. So we have a marketing group set up, and then we have two options. We can have full rights where they can add and edit items, or we have limited rights where they can only view, and they also won't be able to see the hidden text fields, which I set up earlier. So let's give this one full rights. We click share, and now the marketing team have access to this folder all in one go. So this is really useful in terms of being able to quickly share things with the relevant teams within your organization. And if someone switches to a different team, you can move them and give them instant access to the things they need and remove access for the things they no longer need. And the same with onboarding and offboarding staff. You're able to very easily do that, give them access and remove access with just a few clicks. Next up, if I move my face over, we can see these three tools which we have access to. So the first one is the password generator. This allows us to very quickly create passwords and also check how strong these passwords are in terms of how much they line up with the password policy of the organization. We can change the length of the password up to 60 characters. We can regenerate them, we can copy them, and we can save them directly from here as well. So that allows us to create passwords very, very quickly. We then have the password health, which is, as I say, is looking at the password policy of the passwords and how they line up with the organization. We have the number of weak passwords, the number of reused passwords, and the number of old passwords. This is defined by the admins and how often passwords should be updated. So in this case, it's currently set at 90 days. Any passwords over 90 days old, we'll see these here and we can go and update those accordingly. And then the final thing is the data breach scanner. So the data breach scanner is going to scan our passwords for any emails, and it will also scan our credit cards, and it will show any breaches and exactly what the breach has been, whether it's password, personal information, and then we're able to go and update those. So at the moment, I don't have any cards added, but we can see that the emails monitored are all safe, and the data that's added in NordPass hasn't appeared in any breaches. Last up, let's check out the settings to see what options we have here. So firstly, we can change the master password. We can also use Touch IDs. We can use biometrics rather than using the master password. We also have a recovery code, which is a 16-digit code, which when we set up our account, we're given, and we're able to unlock our account using that at any time. We can also use multi-factor authentication. We can toggle that on and off. So that's using apps like Google Authenticator or Authy to have a second layer of authentication to keep our account secure. We have an auto lock period. So this is where we can set anything from 5 minutes to 1 week, the period of device inactivity where NordPass will become locked. And then similarly, we can clear the clipboard when we've copied a password after 1 minute, 2 minutes, or never, depending on how we want to do that. We can change the language here, and we can change the theme to dark mode if we prefer. We can also import items from other browsers or password managers. So if we're moving from another password manager, we can import these in one go. There's an autofill instant login feature, which is where we can basically do one click from NordPass. It will take us to the website. It will add our login information. It will click the button to log us in directly. So we don't have to do anything. We just have to click in NordPass once and we'll be instantly logged in. And then there's also this option to autofill with subdomains. So for example, some websites such as Apollo, you'll sometimes see the main landing page of the site is like apollo.io, and then you have a subdomain which might be app.apollo.io. So we can match subdomains, specific subdomains, to the passwords to allow us very quick, again, instant login, one-click login to those specific subdomains. We can also add sites that are never saved. And then finally, we have a couple of notification options, so we can toggle on and off the data breach scanner alerts and the password health alerts as well. So this is NordPass. You can check it out at nordpass.com, and I'll see you in the next video.